So in this lecture, we will be learning few problems which we have discussed in the previous video lectures, concepts related to that. We will be solving few applications, few problems, and then we will start new topic called thermal expansion. To start with, we have a problem. A faulty thermometer reads freezing point and boiling point of water as 5 degrees Celsius and 95 degrees Celsius respectively. What is the correct value of temperature as it reads 60 degrees Celsius on faulty thermometer? So as I already told you, in a faulty thermometer, the lower fixed point and upper fixed point, their values are different. So on faulty thermometer, lower fixed point is given as 5 degrees Celsius. So a faulty thermometer reads freezing point and boiling point of water as 5 degrees Celsius and 95 degrees Celsius. Upper fixed point, this is 95 degrees Celsius. What is the correct value of temperature as it reads 60 degrees on the faulty thermometer? So what is the correct value of temperature? You are supposed to find out what is the value of correct value on the temperature if it reads 60 degrees on faulty thermometer. So what is reading on faulty thermometer? Reading on faulty thermometer is given as 60 degrees Celsius. And we have relation between different scales, right? Now you can convert this Celsius scale into faulty thermometric scale. So it is reading on the scale minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point is equal to C divided by 100. So this is the relation which we have. Reading on the scale minus lower fixed point divided by upper fixed point minus lower fixed point. What is reading on the faulty scale? It is 60 degrees minus lower fixed point is 5 degrees divided by upper fixed point is 95 degrees minus 5 degrees is equal to C divided by 100. This is 60 minus 5, it is 55 divided by 90 is equal to C divided by 100. Now you should calculate C, that will be the final value of temperature. So if you calculate this, you will be getting 61 degrees Celsius. It means the value of 60 degrees on the faulty thermometer is equal to 61.1 degrees Celsius on the Celsius scale. On Celsius scale, the value of that faulty thermometer reading is 61.1 degrees. Students, as we already know, whenever you are subjecting heat energy to any object, whether it may be gas or liquid or solid, definitely it would undergo expansion. So heat can expand or contract solids, liquids and gases. If you are providing heat energy to the solid, it undergo expansion. If you are taking heat energy from a solid, it undergo contraction. So heat can, when you are providing heat energy or removing heat energy from a substance, it can either expand or it can either contract. This is one of the important application of heat energy. And the second thing is, heat can bring change in the state of the system. Heat can bring change in the state of the system. That means, say for example, ice. You are heating ice. As a result, it get converted to water. And if you are heating water, it get converted to vapor. Likewise, if you are cooling vapor, it get converted to water. And if you cool water, it get converted to ice, vice versa. So this is the other important application of heat energy. So heat can expand or contract the substances. Heat can bring change in the state of the system. And this is the first part. In this chapter, we will be learning about these two, expansion and as well as contraction of the materials depending on heat energy provided, and also change in the states of the system. These two will be discussed in this particular chapter. So we will be starting with thermal expansion of a solid. So what does thermal expansion of a solid mean? The name itself tells you thermal expansion. Thermal means heat energy, expansion of the solids. So when you are providing heat energy to a solid, definitely it undergo expansion. Why is it happening? Why a material is being expanded when you are providing heat energy? Say for example, you have a material, like let me consider this as a solid, and this solid internally has molecules. These are the atoms, and so these all are atoms present in that particular solid. Now what happens is when you are providing heat energy to the system, so you are providing heat energy to this system. This is heat reservoir. Heat reservoir is that which reserves heat energy, and it transfer heat energy to the substance. A stove can be considered as heat reservoir. Heater can be considered as heat reservoir. So this is what rod is in contact with the heat reservoir. Now the atoms which are initially here at this end, those atoms will be absorbing heat energy, and they transfer heat energy to the next atom. And this atom, after absorbing heat energy, it transfer heat to the next atom. It transfer heat to the next atom. It transfer heat to the next atom. Transfer heat to the next atom. Like that, heat energy is being transferred to this end. So without the actual transfer of molecules or atoms, molecules or atoms in this solid will remain same as it is in their own position. But when you are providing heat energy, the atoms will undergo vibrations. Atom will undergo vibration. That substance, the atoms of this substance will be vibrated. When they are vibrating, they transfer heat energy to the next surrounding molecules. Likewise, all these atoms, they transfer some part of the heat energy received by them to the next surrounding molecules. This is the way heat transfer takes place. As because heat is transferring throughout this solid, throughout the solid heat is being transferred, and as a result of vibrations, because heat is absorbed by all the atoms and they are undergoing vibrations, because of these vibrations, expansion takes place in the solid. Expansion takes place in the solid. So that's what, when a solid is heated, the amplitude of the vibrations of atom increases, and so the average interatomic separation increases. This result in thermal expansion of the solid. So that is the main reason for thermal expansion of the solid. So when you are providing heat energy to the solid, the atoms undergo vibrations rigorously. Because of that, the material would undergo expansion. And how much amount of heat energy you are providing, that much amount of heat energy is absorbed by the atoms, and those many number of vibrations will be there. So the frequency of the atomic vibrations depends upon heat which is absorbed by the molecules. Therefore, more is the heat provided, more will be expansion of the solid. So expansion is directly proportional to change in the temperature. Expansion is directly proportional to change in the temperature. So expansion is delta L. Delta L is the expansion. Like, let us consider initially length of the material is L naught. After some heat energy, after absorbing some heat energy, it is been increasing its temperature. Because of that, there is slight increase in the length. So this black color represents that because you are providing heat energy, it is absorbing heat energy and there is a expansion observed, and this expansion I can write it as delta L naught, and L1 is the total length after expansion. After expansion, L1 is the total length. So how do you write delta L naught? Delta L naught is equal to L1 minus L naught. That means the thermal expansion delta L naught, it is directly proportional to change in the temperature. More is the temperature difference, more will be the heat transferred. More is the heat transferred, more will be the expansion. So delta L is directly proportional to delta theta, where delta theta is change in the temperature. Next, this is one point. The second point is delta L, the expansion of the material is also proportional to initial length of the material. So it means you are taking a wire or you are taking a rod of length 5 centimeter. Corresponding to this 5 centimeter, there will be expansion in the length. You are taking length 10 centimeter. Initial length of the rod is 10 centimeter. Corresponding to this 10 centimeter, there will be expansion in the rod. More is the initial length, more will be the expansion. So delta L is directly proportional to L naught. This is number 2. Now I use these two and I write it as delta L is proportional to L naught into delta theta. Right? So this gives you delta L is equal to proportionality. If you remove, you should include a constant. I am writing that constant as alpha L naught into delta theta, where delta L is the expansion length delta L is equal to alpha L naught into delta theta. As this is along the length, such type of expansion which is taking place along the length is called linear expansion. This is called linear expansion. So when you are taking materials like rod or a wire, as length is more dominating than area of cross section and height, there will be expansion across length. Expansion along the length is more dominating. Such type of expansion taking place is called linear expansion. Linear expansion delta L is equal to alpha L naught into delta L, where alpha is called coefficient of linear expansion. Alpha is called coefficient of linear expansion. So 3 different types of thermal expansions which we have is number 1 linear expansion, number 2 superficial expansion or areal expansion, and number 3 cubical expansion or volume expansion. Name itself tells you linear. Linear mean along length. Linear mean along length. If the expansion is along length, then it is called linear expansion. If the expansion is along area, it is called superficial expansion or areal expansion. If the expansion is along the volume, then such an expansion is called cubical expansion. Generally, if you are taking different materials, like for example, I am taking a rod. I am taking a rod. And in the second case, I am taking a plate. And in the third case, I can take a cube. Clearly you can observe the difference. In the first case, there is a rod. When you are providing heat energy, what would happen? Definitely, this rod would undergo expansion only along the length, and this will be the expansion along the length. Like length expanded is in this. It is only along length. Area expansion is negligible in case of length because the more length is more dominating than breadth and height. Whereas in case of superficial expansion, length and breadth, let me consider this is length L and this is breadth B. So when you are providing heat energy to the substance, what actually happens is length expands and as well as breadth expands in this case. So you could clearly consider this as the expansion. So there is slight expansion along the breadth and as well as slight expansion along length also. Length is undergoing expansion and breadth is undergoing expansion. Therefore, expansion is throughout the volume. Next, coming to the cube, this is three-dimensional. There is some length undergo expansion, breadth undergo expansion, length undergo expansion, breadth undergo expansion, and height also undergo expansion, right? So as a whole, you could see this expansion is three-dimensional. This is after expansion. This is the situation. So it is length expansion is along length, breadth, and as well as height. So this is how, if it is three-dimensional, along the volume, the expansion would be observed. Therefore, along length, it is linear expansion. Along area, it is superficial expansion. And along volume, it is cubical expansion. And the coefficient here in linear expansion is denoted with alpha, which is called coefficient of linear expansion. And in the second case, it is beta, coefficient of superficial expansion. And the third, it is gamma, which is coefficient of cubical expansion. These are the three different types of thermal expansions which we encounter in our daily life because of heat which you are providing to the system. So we already have seen this. Initial length of the rod is L0. When you are heating it, it is increasing its length. This is the increase in the length. This much amount of increase is being observed in this length. Final length of the rod is L1. Delta L is L1 minus L0. Change in the length is directly proportional to initial length and it is directly proportional to change in the temperature. Combining these two, you will be getting equation for alpha. Alpha is called coefficient of linear expansion. Unit of alpha is, in the numerator we have delta L, which is length L, divided by, in the denominator L0 is initial length, so unit is, and in the denominator there is delta theta, which is temperature. Temperature gets length gets cancelled. It is 1 by temperature. So it means temperature unit is Kelvin, right? Therefore, unit is Kelvin power minus 1 or Celsius power, degree Celsius power minus 1 or Fahrenheit degrees minus 1. That is the practical unit of coefficient of linear expansion. And coefficient of linear expansion alpha depends on nature of the substance. It depends on nature of the substance. different materials has different alpha values. Say for example, copper have alpha Cu. Similarly, we have aluminum has alpha Al. Different materials will have different alpha values. Therefore, based on that alpha value, substances expand differently along length depending on nature of that particular material. This is first type of expansion called linear expansion, where you will be getting coefficient of linear expansion in this linear expansion. Now you are taking a rod, you are taking a disc and as well as a plate. This is disc of area A0. Likewise, you are taking a plate of area A0. Initial area is A0 here for disc and as well as plate. When you are providing heat energy to the disc, total diameter expands, like the plate will be expanded. Likewise, if you are taking plate, the total length expands. See, this is the expanded length. This is delta L, length expands, and as well as breadth also expands. This is breadth expanded delta B. This part is what you are able to see. So this is the total expanded region. Length is expanded and as well as breadth is also expanded. So now let us consider after expansion. Final area is equal to A1. Now what is change in the area? Change in area is equal to final area minus initial area, which is represented with delta A. Delta A is change in the area, delta A. Now as delta A, which is change in the area, it is directly proportional to initial area. If you are taking small plate, expansion would be small. If you are taking a plate of larger area, expansion would be larger. More it expands. So delta A is directly proportional to A0, that is initial area. Likewise, delta A is also proportional to delta theta, which is change in the temperature. So from these two, like if you are increasing temperature more, obviously expansion would be more. Therefore, I can write delta A is equal to some constant beta A0 into delta theta, where beta is equal to delta A divided by A0 into delta theta, which is A1 minus A0 divided by A0 into delta theta, where delta theta is change in the temperature. So where this beta is called coefficient of superficial expansion. Coefficient of superficial expansion. So beta is equal to increase in the area by original area into rise in the temperature. Unit of beta is Kelvin inverse or degree Celsius inverse or Fahrenheit degree inverse. This is the unit of beta. So if you observe this plate clearly, length is expanding and as well as breadth is expanding. So you can simply write beta is equal to twice that of alpha for linear conductor. So that means if the material is having same properties throughout its area, then definitely how much length has been expanded, then definitely same expansion would be there in breadth also. So for in general, you can write beta is equal to 2 times alpha. That's about coefficient of superficial expansion. So let us consider initial volume of this cube is V0. Initial volume of the cube, let us consider it as V0. V naught. And after providing heat energy, this is at temperature theta 1. Now, after providing heat energy, the volume has been expanded. So I write it as final volume is equal to V1. This is at temperature T2. Change in the volume can be written as is equal to delta V, which is written as final volume minus initial volume. And clearly you can write delta V is directly proportional to initial volume V naught, and delta V is directly proportional to change in the temperature. Change in the temperature is delta theta. Therefore, delta V is equal to proportionality. If I remove, I should include a constant, that is gamma V naught into delta theta, right? Now from this you can write gamma is equal to delta V divided by V naught into delta theta, which is V1 minus V naught divided by V naught into delta theta. This is equation for change in, like equation for coefficient of cubical expansion, where gamma is called coefficient of cubical expansion. And you can even write unit of gamma is also same, volume by volume into change in the temperature. This and this gets cancelled. So therefore unit can be Kelvin inverse or degree Celsius inverse or Fahrenheit degree Celsius, Fahrenheit degree inverse. That is unit of coefficient of cubical expansion. And we can write gamma is equal to 3 times alpha for isotropic solid. Isotropic solid means the properties of that solid throughout the material will be uniform. Length, breadth and height. The characteristics along length, breadth and height are uniform for such type of material. It is called isotropic solid. For isotropic solid, gamma will be equal to 3 alpha. Beta will be equal to 2 alpha. So you can write down relation between gamma and beta also. So gamma can be written as 3 times beta divided by 2. This is relation between beta and gamma, and these all are valid only for isotropic solids. That is about coefficient of cubical expansion. Likewise, you can write beta is equal to delta A divided by A naught into delta theta. So from this you can write delta A is equal to A naught beta A naught into delta theta. Delta A is A1 minus A naught, which is beta A naught into delta theta. Bring this A naught to the other side. A1 is equal to A naught plus beta A naught delta theta. So A1 is written as A naught into 1 plus beta into delta theta. This is one more relation which you can find final area. Likewise, the other one which we have is gamma. Gamma is equal to delta V divided by V naught into delta theta. So you can write delta V is equal to gamma V naught delta theta. V1 minus V naught is equal to gamma V naught delta theta. V1 is equal to V naught plus gamma V naught delta theta. Therefore, final volume V1 is equal to V naught into 1 plus gamma into delta theta. Right? And usually we have relation for alpha, beta and gamma as 1:2, 2:3. That's the relation for alpha, beta and gamma. Final length, final area, final volume. You can use these expressions to solve problems that we will be discussing in next video lecture.